Good morning and welcome to Breakfast at Dawn. I'm Naveen Naqvi. Manmohan Singh has certainly gotten a lot of flack for his joint statement in Sharm el-Sheikh. Never have I seen such a strong reaction against efforts for peace, but the statesman has stood his ground. It may be that Indian hawks think that he's a sellout and the Indian media believes that he was unconvincing, but here at least in some Pakistani circles he's being appreciated. But can there be real progress in peace between the two neighboring countries? Not if the hawks get their way on both sides of the border, says Dawn's columnist and political analyst Cyril Almeida. As his weekly Friday opinion piece comes out, we have him here live in our Karachi studio. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Okay. Cyril, so first off, I have to tell you that my whole production team makes fun of me because they say that it's Friday, and so it's Cyril Days, because I always read your piece on Friday.
At least someone's reading, besides the Indians, they get very worked up about stuff.
Do they?
Yeah, I think they read a lot of Dawn online,
Well, they're watching. They've been sending in their comments right now. We have a few Indian viewers.
Are they all angry with
Pakistanis?
Pakistanis?
Well, no, actually, just to start off, in fact, we've got Venkat Anand who says an interesting note to begin the day with, Indo-Pakistan.
So there we go.
They're watching.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
All right, so let me ask you this. My first question to you is, you talk about thwarting the hawks. Do you think it's possible to do that on either side of the border or both?
Well, I would hope so, because otherwise what are we fighting for? I mean, fighting for peace in that sense. It can happen, but really it's a question of domestic compulsions on both sides of the border. I think right now, within India, there's an internal debate going on about, can Pakistan be an effective partner in peace? In terms of, I think Mumbai created fundamental questions out there, whether they added to previous questions or reignited old issues or suspicions or all of that. There's a sizable segment of public opinion makers in India who question whether Pakistan can be a partner in peace with India. And they use Mumbai as an example, saying, look, this was a terrible attack. It was clear what the intention was. Strike at India's economic heart. Try and push the peace process off the rails. So, I mean, if this is going on and there could perhaps be some complicity, this is their argument from on the part of the intelligence apparatus, what does that mean? I mean, is this an ally? Is this a partner? Is this somebody we can make peace with? And those questions are there. Personally, I think part of all of this, because there's such a long history between, obviously, India and Pakistan, and this very fraught history, that there are hawks on both sides. And I don't know whether they're against peace in any circumstances, but perhaps they want peace on their terms.
Right.
And right now, it's a case of, look, Pakistan has been caught with its pants down. This thing happened in Mumbai. They have accepted, because we managed to get one of the gunmen alive, and he's confessed. We've established these links. They've admitted it. So it's really a case of, let's see what we can extract from this in addition.
Not only that, I mean, the Pakistani, Zahid Hussain wrote that column, that story just on Dawn.
Sure.
In Dawn, saying that, well, the investigators, but that does not necessarily mean that the state was involved, right?
Right. I mean, Zahid's piece was, I was speaking to him after that, incidentally, and we even wrote an editorial on it. I think it's really important what's going on the investigation front, because it shows that, look, we're doing this, it's our own local investigation, and we're not hiding the facts, right? Because whatever India has been claiming and whatever Kasab has been saying in court, by and large tend to be corroborated by our local investigation. So, there's some kind of obvious, there's no clear cover-up going on out here. But at the same time, I think the biggest problem in India right now is, look, you guys have this particular crime that was committed November 2008, the Mumbai attacks from Pakistan. But what are you doing about LET? What are you doing about the Lashkar-e-Taiba? Are you just going to go after those few individuals who are directly linked to this, or are you going to shut it down? Pakistan's problem is slightly more complicated, because it's really not a case of, do we want to hang on to LET, do we want to use them somewhere down the road, but is this the right time for us to crack down on the LET?
So why wouldn't it be?
For various reasons. I think if you look at the history of the LET, you'll see that they are one of the few militant organizations which are avowedly against fighting the Pakistani state itself, and they're focused externally.
Right.
So with all the other things that are on our plate right now, there's a concern about, look, do we really want to crack down on this group and cause another headache for us internally. Secondly, the command structure of LET by and large has stayed unified, which isn't necessarily the case with other organizations. Look at Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, Harkatul Mujahideen. All of those have splintered in many ways. So there's this concern that, look, as soon as you crack down on an organization, it causes the cadres to split and go across the country. So do we want some organization that potentially we can talk to the leadership and be like, look, okay, you guys are going too far, calm down, this is not the time, we've got other issues. So I mean, I'm not defending the state's policy at all. I think what I'm trying to say is, like, look, we've got into a very, very messy situation, and we are in a situation where there are no good answers. And we're trying to find a way out of it, we're trying to feel our way out of it. And if these demands keep growing about black and white answers, okay, look, Lashkar-e-Taiba did this, so therefore eliminate it. What does that mean? I think Manmohan Singh, in his speech, which was given yesterday, tried to strike, as we wrote in the editorial, a balancing act. You know, he told his domestic audience, look, we won't go for full normalization of ties until Pakistan does something concrete about Mumbai.
That's right.
But at the same time, he had very encouraging words for Pakistan. Look, your government has done certain things. They have provided us information. They do seem to be, reaching out to us, and we are looking for partners on that side.
You know, I have to say that there were some precedents that were set with Sharm el-Sheikh. I mean, you know, Pakistan for the first time said this, well, they've been bringing up the Balochistan thing.
Yeah.
India accepted the Balochistan
Right.
point, which was a major, and it's, of course, one of the most problematic points
Sure.
that Manmohan Singh is fighting right now. Right?
I mean, okay, all right. What happened out there, and what kind of role the Americans had to play in terms of putting pressure on the Indian government? It's a very complex picture. There are elections going on in Afghanistan. There is the nuclear deal between the U.S. And India.
That's right.
You know, so there's so many aspects involved. There's no doubt that there was some major behind-the-scenes role played by the U.S. The Balochistan issue, did they really say, look, we are doing something, or did they really say, look, you guys are complaining about it, and we acknowledge the fact that you're complaining about it?
Yeah, just the fact that he even acknowledged that means that, okay, that there was some kind of, you know, a concession there, which has not been, okay, but we also have Suhasini Haider on the line with us from CNN, IBN. Good morning to you, and welcome to Breakfast at Dawn, Suhasini. I also have Cyril Almeida with me here in the studio, and we've been talking about what progress can be made on the peace process between Pakistan and India. What's it looking like on your side of the border? Manmohan Singh's been having quite a hard time, isn't he?
Certainly. I mean, he's had more than 2 days of debates in Parliament. Many of the accusations, a direct attack on him of having perhaps sold out or given too much away to Pakistan in that India-Pakistan joint statement. But what we've heard from the government is a consistent line, really, for the last couple of days on the idea that talks is the only way forward. With Pakistan, there are the riders, there are the conditions that there must be more action on terror. But there doesn't seem to be much ambiguity about that line, that the peace process itself is something that they all do agree on.
All right. And tell me, Suhasini, what kind of reaction has Manmohan Singh's statements and his defense in the Lok Sabha, what kind of reaction are you seeing in the Indian media?
Well, the media has been divided for the past few days just on the idea of whether this joint statement was a complete disaster, or whether, in fact, there are parts of it that the government, can take credit for. And that's the kind of reaction we're seeing. The Hindustan Times actually putting it very succinctly. It really all now boils down to the B word, as it's being known here, Balochistan being mentioned in that joint statement. And the Hindustan Times saying, India at war with itself over Balochistan. Because that's the sense you're getting in Parliament, that the one line on Balochistan, which I agree with your analyst, we're not quite sure whether it meant Pakistan brought it up and India said, okay, put it in the statement, or whether there were genuine concerns that were actually exchanged as well. Despite that ambiguity, the fact is that Balochistan has become the biggest stumbling block in this joint statement. It's the thing that the opposition has used most effectively, and the government has not really been able to defend really as to why that clause went in. So most of the papers really here also concentrating on the government's inability to defend itself on that Balochistan word.
All right, thanks so much for joining us here on Breakfast at Dawn. Suhasini Heather there from CNN, IBN, joining us on the line. We're going to take a very quick break now. Stay with us here on Breakfast at Dawn as we continue our conversation with Cyril Almeida.